Welcome, friends. Welcome back to my hobby home. My name is Cathy. Happy Vlogmas Day 12. We are almost to the middle of our December Vlogmas, guys. What I am doing, I have a project here on my table that we will be embroidering. I could bring you along for all the pre-stuff, but who wants to see all that? I can tell you what I did. I did change out my needle to an embroidery needle. I changed out my plate, my foot plate, to an embroidery plate. I've changed out my thread to glide thread for embroidery. I'm about to put my foot on here. It's my embroidery foot. So I have the embroidery foot on. I do need to pick colors out, thread colors. But first, let me show you what we have here as our supplies. This design is Designs by Juju pattern. It is a gingerbread towel topper. It is an elastic hanger version. What it is, one version you can sew the towel into the little hanger, and the other version you can change your towel out and it can stay out all season. I'm doing the elastic version because if y'all cook like I do around the holidays, sometimes I burn a towel. I don't just burn food, I can burn a towel. And so I would like to be able to change out my towels. First thing we need is wash away stabilizer. And I will show y'all this here. This is one of the slap bands that I have received. I literally just write on it, wash away. And so I've got my wash away stabilizer. I have my warm and natural batting. I have a bag here, but I think I have some in my stash over here that's just a small piece, which may be perfect for this. Fabrics. I have my fabric here. And buttons. I have my buttons. Non-roll elastic. I have a 3/4 inch. It says the buttons they use are 3/4 to 1 inch. If you want to use smaller, it says do not cut the buttonhole to full length. So everything is in the hoop by what I can tell. It calls for a towel, scissors, embroidery thread, washi tape, and pins. I think I got some washi tape over here that I may pull out, but if not, I have some sublimation tape that's safe for fabrics. For our fabric cuts, we need 6 inches by 8. Oh yeah, I've got plenty of that. 6 by 8 batting. The fabric front is going to be a 5.75 by 7.75. So I'll probably do like an 8 by 8 square. Probably because when I roll this off my card, I'm probably going to do, I'll probably do like a 7 by 8 because I want it to be big enough to go in my hoops. And then the back is going to be 6 by 9. And it says to make the strap, cut 1 piece of batting and 2 pieces of fabric to 3 by 8 each. So let me get my cuts done and get my module hooked up, and we will be right back. Okay, friends, I have got 12 color changes on this, but it looks like it uses 6, 7, 8 different colors. But it looks like most of them are like outlines. You could do the outlines and whatever it is initially. So I'm going to sit my pattern over here to the side. I am going to get you guys where you can see what I'm doing. I'm showing you here my fabric cuts that I have. I've pressed them. They're ready to go. I was going to do these larger than what it called for, but I decided maybe that's not a good idea. I do have my embroidery scissors over here that I will use, are my applique scissors that I will use to cut the fabric. These are the applique, or the scissors that I use. They're offset. You'll see they're offset. These are just easier for me to use. So the first thing we have to do is get our wash away stabilizer. We got to get 2 layers of it. So I'm saying that's 1 layer. And this is my 2nd layer. And I will just cut this, put that back on there. So now that I'm using 2 layers, I'm just folding it in half. I'm not cutting those 2 layers apart. Okay, friends, I now have you facing my machine front. We are going to change our foot to the 48. And then we are changing our plate to the orange square. You can't see that yet, but you'll be able to see that. I still need to thread my machine. I have not yet threaded it, but that is correct. And then we will go to our embroidery. So I click home. I choose embroidery. And of course it makes its noise. I'm choosing my thumb drive. And we have our gingerbread man. So I see gingerbread and I see snowman. One of these is going to have the elastic and one does not. So I'm thinking this is the one that we want, because it does not have it is the one with the elastic, because you see it sews all the way around. The first thing I have here is my hooped stabilizer. Now it is going to tell me to take this off, but I go on and put it on here. My machine tells me it's going to take me 20 minutes. And for me to start, I have a little red button right here. I will need to press. The first color I need to put on my machine is my hot pink. So one moment and I will have that done. Okay, I now have my machine threaded with my first color. I am going to slide my hoop under there. Now, once again, it's probably going to tell me to take it off. And sometimes I don't get it on there all the way right. I will keep this thread kind of held. I will use my little scissors to clip that off. So now the first thing I'm going to do is press this red button, but I want to show you how I tend to this string. See, now my screen, you can't see there, is telling me to remove my things. So tells me to raise my foot. My foot is raised. So now I'm guessing it has done its thing. And I'm going to hold this thread. Now what it's doing is it is showing me where my design is right there. I'm going to start on the bottom, and I know it's in the hoop. Why is this giving me? Oh, I should have a 26. I chose the wrong foot, so I had an error on my foot. So that is good. I never do remember the number of this. So we're going to try this again. Okay, and we're going to hold it down to let it get started. And then I'm going to pause it. I pause it there so I can get my little scissors and pull that string out of my way. And then I go on and press it again. Okay, now this is the stitchment placement for the batting. Now once again, this is Designs by Juju, and this is our large piece of batting, and I just make sure that batting covers the whole design. After I do this, I will trim around these stitches, so I'll be trimming the batting down. So now I'm taking this off. I am going to trim that batting off and bring you right back once we do our next stitch line. Okay guys, I'd already did all of the batting, and I used the stitch line for the batting as my guide to put my fabric on. It's going to give me 2 stitches around so we can see this. I just use the same color thread because this is also kind of like a tack down for me to cut the fabric. Once I cut the fabric, everything, all the colors will be used after this. So now it is ready for me to cut the fabric, and then we will start doing our colored threads in here. I have now changed to my technical 4th color, but it's actually only my 2nd color because I did all of my tack downs the same color. So what I'm going to do is start this, because this is now starting the colors on the design. And I'm going to trim this thread. That's why I pause it, so I can trim it, and then we're going to start that back. Now the threads that I'm using are sulky. They're sulky, let me see, 40, looks like 40 weight. They're 100% rayon, so they are pretty strong threads, and they do a fabulous, clean design. And friends, this is single needle embroidery. You have lots of color changes that you have to do that can take anywhere from 2 minutes to 5 minutes to do. Most times you're having to rethread your machine. Even though I have an automatic threader, it don't always thread the first time or the 5th time. You may have to keep trying to thread your machine. But embroidery projects make such beautiful gifts for friends, family, loved ones. And this right here is one of my orders that I have. I do make a lot of towel toppers and boss towels. I will be trying some new designs. This is a new design for me this year, but this is like the 4th or 5th one I've made, and I still make mistakes on it. Like I use the for this body fabric, I used the wrong one. I used the larger one thinking that it was the smaller one, but that is okay. We are okay with that. And guys, I'm so sorry. I did not realize that my hoop was hitting my tripod and y'all were shaking all over the place. And guys, once you get a process down for changing out your threads, I can change my threads out fairly quickly because I have all of my threads sitting on my table in front of my machine in the order they need to go. So when I know it's time to do a thread change, I just grab the one I need. I clip the thread that's on there at the top once it's done, pull through the needle, just take the spool off, put the other one on, and then I rethread just real quick like. So see, this is going pretty quickly now. The total time for this, I think, was 30 something minutes. Now, of course, you need to add your thread changes and all of that as well. Now, this next step that we are going to do, it says use tape, but I think it's 507 basting spray. Now, I am going to leave the black thread on, because what I'm going to be doing now is adding the backing here. So what that means is I'm going to turn my hoop over. You see how I've turned it over here? I'm going to lay that where it doesn't slide off my machine. I use a 505, I thought it was called 507, but it's 505 temporary adhesive spray. And I strictly spray it on the back of my fabric. So I'm not going to hold it over my machine because I don't want the gunk on my machine. After I have my fabric sprayed, I will then take it and lay it right over and just press it down. Make sure it's smooth. So I can feel my outline here. So I turn that over. I make sure it goes over without getting caught there, because that can easily happen. And now that I have that done, I still have the black thread. I'm using that as a tack down, but I will stop it once that thread, well, it sucked that thread right on down, so. Now this doing a double stitch line is why we use the 2 layers of the interfacing or the stabilizer, was so it wouldn't go through that. I can see some places where the stabilizer is giving way. So now I'm taking the hoop off the machine and trimming this side. Okay, I have that trimmed out. So now I'm going to put this back on the machine. So now what I have to do is stitch the placement line for the elastic. Now what I need to do is take the hoop off, turn it over, put my elastic on back here, and I will show you how I do that in a moment. I have to cut my elastic. Now on this step, I will use tape to tape down my elastic, because I really do not want that moving. I see where my placement stitches are. And this tape that I'm using is tape that I use when I do heat press. So it is safe for the fabric. So now what I'm going to do is turn this back over and stitch this again. I'm keeping that black thread just because this is going to go under a satin stitch. That will cover all of it. So once this is done, I will take it off the hoop again and I will trim that elastic. So you see here how the elastic extends that sewn area. I'm just going to use I better use my embroidery scissors that I trim with, because these will keep me from cutting the rest of my design. And friends, we are now starting that satin stitch that is going to go all the way around the project. Now we will have some additional things that we need to do. We will need to do our trim work, cleaning up the loose threads. And we'll also need to do our buttonhole. Okay, friends, I am going to clean this up and get the strap done and be right back with you guys. And friends, we are back. I wanted to show you the completed item. Now, this is just a dish towel that I've put in here for you, but look at this. It has the elastic in the back that holds your towel. And so you can change this towel out. I just did this one here because it's got the cute little gingerbread men on it. And I love this. So now, like I said, you know, this is part of my orders. For me personally, I would do the elastic band and not the sew-in because, as I said before, I do like to change out my dish towels. So that works perfectly. Now, of course, this is still brand new. I have not cut the tag out of it yet. But this here, you can have either the hanger to hang on a straight bar pull, or you can have it, or you know, you could hang it on your oven, or you could have it like this and hang it on a knob. So whichever you prefer. Me, I like to have the hanger on it because that way I can hang it on my oven door and have it readily available if need be while I'm cooking. So friends, thank you for joining me for, I guess, an In the Hoop series, because I have quite a few In the Hoop ideas that I will be doing with you guys here in the month of December. It will be gift ideas, handy ideas, you know, whatever. Most of them are small items. Since they aren't in the hoop, most of them are small, useful items. So I hope you return to see what other things I have going on. I need to get my area over here cleaned up. I've got a mess going on in here and I need to get it taken care of. So with that said, guys, give me a thumbs up before you head out. If you have not yet subscribed, please do. Click on that notification bell so you don't miss a single thing. I do quilting, sewing, cooking, a lot of chit-chatting. I love to chit-chat with you guys, so feel free to leave a comment, tell me what you think. I do try to respond to each and every comment personally, and as always, until I see you again, I hope you have a very blessed day. Bye, guys.